tomorrow's jobs report, because it's going to be a big one. Some analysts are saying the economy is in uncharted territory, a steep collapse followed by an explosive recovery. The Wall Street Journal calling it unlike anything you've seen. But is the recovery happening too fast for the U.S. to keep up? Let's bring in our panel. Douglas Holtz-Eakin is the president of the American Action Forum, a former director of the Congressional Budget Office, and Robert Wolf, former chairman and CEO of UBS Americas, former Obama economic advisor, also a Fox News contributor. There's so much to dig into here, Douglas, because do you argue against the fact that we are seeing a serious economic boom in this country? As the Wall Street Journal points out, a recovery unlike any other. Consumers have trillions in extra savings, businesses eager to hire, enormous policy support. It also points to new businesses popping up at the fastest pace on record. This is all good news, right, Douglas?
This is very good news. And this is an unprecedented recovery because it was an unprecedented recession. We've never had a recession before where incomes rose throughout, wealth rose throughout, and instead household spending collapsed from the threat of the virus. And as the virus recedes and that threat diminishes, households are coming back and they have lots and lots of cash to spend, and they're going to have the ability to go out and participate fully in the labor market. And so we should see an economy that comes back, and we shouldn't really need a lot of policy support to do it.
Interesting, Robert. But the Wall Street Journal then goes on to say that the speed of this rebound is also triggering turmoil. The shortages of goods, raw materials, labor that typically emerge toward the end of an expansion are cropping up much too soon. Many economists, along with the Federal Reserve, expect the jump in inflation to be temporary, but others worry it could persist even once reopening is complete. So you've got to have supply that keeps up with demand. We're seeing inflation the highest it's been in 30 years. So does that concern you that that could throw a wrench in this strong economic recovery, Robert?
So first, I just want to agree with everything Doug said with respect to the economy.
Shocking.
We are in uncharted territory, and yes, you have to be concerned with inflation. There's no question that what happened the past year, we've never seen, but equally, we've never seen this type of recovery go so fast. To think that these disruptions were not going to happen was unrealistic. Supply chains, ports, travel, all these things came quickly back. We finally have this true V-shaped recovery that people were talking about 6-8 months ago. But to think, and I disagree with the Fed, that inflation is just temporary, I would disagree with them. I would say that although we've seen wages go up slowly, we've seen other aspects, food prices, energy, housing go up fairly rapid. And I do think that this stimulus that Doug spoke about hopefully will come to an end soon, although I would not call infrastructure stimulus. We need infrastructure spend.
That is a fascinating point, and I'll put up on the screen as well the job estimates for tomorrow, because this is a big one. As we come out of this COVID crisis and the economic recovery continues, the May jobs report out tomorrow is expected to show 650,000 jobs added. 5.9% is expected to be the headline unemployment rate. That would be a drop from above 6%, first time since last March, I believe. And we got this jobs report today, Douglas, that showed a 978,000 jobs were added in the month of May. That was that private sector ADP report. I mean, it's hard. Yeah. It's hard to say that there's not great things happening here. But what is your biggest concern, Douglas?
Well, I want to echo Robert's concern about inflation. We've seen inflation, and it comes from the overstimulus of $1.9 trillion in March. We've seen it in every asset price. We're now seeing it all through the supply chain, and it will show up in the consumers. So that's a concern. If you look at tomorrow's job report, and suppose it comes in at, say, 500,000 jobs, the average we've seen so far this year, it still won't be a disappointment if we see labor force participation come back. We're missing about 4 million workers who could fill those 8.1 million job vacancies. So we have to get that to come back to 2019 levels. We want to see this shift away from part-time work. We saw that begin in April. Hope it continues in the next jobs report. And finally, it's easy to get jobs at leisure and hospitality. Will they be throughout the economy? Will we see broad-based strength? That's what I'm looking for.
All right. I'll put up on the screen, though, one problem that Larry Kudlow pointed out on this program earlier this week, Robert, and that is that there are now 25 states that have had to cut off this federal extended unemployment program because there's so many open jobs out there that people aren't applying for them because they're getting these checks, and it benefits them more to stay at home rather than go out and find new work. So, Robert, if the economic recovery is as strong as it seems both of you agree on, why the heck engage in all this brand new multi-trillion-dollar spending and all these plans that Biden keeps laying out for the American people? Do we need it?
I mean, I like Larry. I would disagree. That's one of the many reasons. I mean, we should understand there are 10 million people unemployed. Only 3.5 million are getting these extended benefits. Why aren't there 7 other million going to work? I think that we've had a skills mismatch, for years, and that skills mismatch has grown dramatically. Secondly, although wages have increased, they haven't increased to the point where people are saying, that's the job I want in this new paradigm shift we've taken. With respect to the service sector.
All right, last thought from Douglas. I've got to wrap it up here.
No
Douglas?
problem.
It's always been too big. It is a problem, and we now know it's lasting too long. And I think it's going to be a great experiment for half the governors to open up their labor markets and see what happens compared to the rest.
Seems like if you just kind of let things open up, let people get back to work, it could be even better. Robert, Douglas, appreciate your time and appreciate the debate. Thank you.